Hi, welcome to Daily Devotions. We are finishing our reading in Genesis chapter 1, and actually I'm cheating because chapter 1 really the story rolls over into the first verses of chapter 2. And we are on the seventh day, the Sabbath day, the day of rest. So let me read to you from the Bible. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all their multitude. And on the seventh day God finished the work that he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all the work that he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it, because on it God rested from all the work that he had done in creation. Well, that really is a very important part of why the story of creation is divided up into 7 days, so that people remember this sort of as a model that God created, but also God took time to step away from creating, to rest, but also to I don't know if this is the right word. Appreciate? That's kind of close to worship, isn't it? What God had made, and to reflect on it. And that is a very true meaning of this, that we should take time in our life to stop what we normally do and then let God seep into us and let ourselves worship God for what God has been doing in our life. Otherwise we get like Lucille Ball in the Pie Factory, where it's always one thing after the other, and we never stop to say, this is what God has done in my life. And there is a true value in the not working portion of this. But I was just looking around online for some inspiration, and I ran across this quote from Luther where he's talking about the Sabbath. Now, he's not talking about this in the context of Genesis, but he's talking about that story in Luke where Jesus on the Sabbath heals a woman who's been crippled for many, many years. And people are angry at him because he has worked on the Sabbath. And this is what Luther says about Jesus here. Now, therefore, the sum and substance of this is that Jesus confronts the Pharisees straight to their faces, showing them that they don't know what it means to keep or to sanctify the Sabbath. Your thinking, he says, is the Sabbath means to do no work whatever and to be idle. No, you must not construe the Sabbath in this manner. Sanctifying the Sabbath means to hear God's word and to assist your neighbor however you can. For God does not want the Sabbath to be kept holy in such a way that you allow your neighbor to languish and be in need. It's a different role for this building during the COVID time. In some ways, our sanctuary is going through a Sabbath. Now, we use it for recording worship services, and we try to make those not simply recordings. We want to make that a time of prayer, even if there's just a few people in the room. But in a certain sense, it's a Sabbath to be inside the building. We're not at a point yet now where the infections are dropping and we can start to bring people in safely. So we're having that. But the unique thing is that once a month, we found ways for people on the Sabbath to celebrate the Sabbath by driving up in their cars and bringing gifts for those in need. This last round we had a week ago, we gathered together toiletries, things like toothpaste. I used to work in a grocery store, so I know that toiletries are not included in things like food stamps, but you still need them. You'll still need soap. You need a toothbrush. You need all these things that are part of holding a house together, but they aren't included in that. And we have our refugees who we as the Lutheran Church have said, we will sponsor you. We will help you to find a safe place, and we will treat you as part of our family. And so last week we gathered toiletries for refugees, and we did it on the Sabbath. We could have asked you to come in on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday. We did it on the day that we gather because almost by instinct, we know that remembering the Sabbath day is this time where we hear God's word, we spend time for hearing God's word, but like Luther said, we celebrate the Sabbath the way Jesus did, Jesus who healed a woman. We celebrate the Sabbath from spending so much of our time taking care of ourselves, and we use that time to take care of others. So I invite you to do that every Sunday. I invite you to every Sunday to join us for worship service. I really hope that you've figured out that there's like a PDF and you can actually sing along. And it's really not as awkward as you think. You'll hear Jerry's voice and you sing all of this, and it feels a lot like being at church. You need that chance for that worship to come out of you at least once a week, and that's good. But you don't have to drive to the church with toiletries every week to find an opportunity to serve your neighbor on the Sabbath. So make a plan the next Sunday about how you're going to serve your neighbor, because that's part of what it means to keep the Sabbath, to remember God's love for creation, and to show appreciation to God for everything that God has given us by taking care of the ones around us. Thanks a lot.